What is going on, guys? Jason Burke here, Styles Clash for Life, coming at you on YouTube, and today I've got some football focus. I wanted to talk to you guys about the first 3 days of the Pittsburgh Steelers free agency. Those of you guys that know me know I've been covering the Steelers offseason quite a bit on my YouTube channel. If you guys want to see previous Steeler videos, I've got a how to solve our quarterback situation video, which we've kind of sort of done. I'll talk about that in a second. I've got a how to solve our offensive line video put up. I've got guys we should target in free agency put up in the last 3 weeks. And those are some of the most recent videos on my channel. Today I want to cover what we actually have done in free agency so far. Monday started the tampering period. So Monday and Tuesday guys could talk to free agents and sign them to verbal deals. And then as of yesterday, Wednesday was the official signing day. So it's been 3 days really in free agency, 1 day since you could sign. And as I'm recording and posting this on Thursday, we are now 3 days into free agency, and Pittsburgh has made some moves. These are not your granddaddy Steelers, right? Pittsburgh is known, and Kevin Colbert has been known, as somebody who really doesn't go after anybody. Don't spend money, don't get big-name free agents, don't be a big player in the offseason, stuff like that. Over the past couple of seasons, Pittsburgh's done a little bit to curb that kind of old trope. They've kind of gone after some low-priced veterans, some kind of cheap deals to kind of patch some holes with some bridge guys. They've done a little bit, but nothing too crazy. Hold our beer. This year is a little bit different. Pittsburgh had, I think, the 9th or 10th most money in free agency this year, in cap space, I should say. And this is the last year of Kevin Colbert in free agency. He's stepping down as GM after the draft. So it's his last year, and we have the money to spend, and we have a lot of holes. More holes on this team than Pittsburgh has had for a long time. We've got a lot of talent and a lot of good names on the roster, but this is the most rebuilding kind of thing we've had to do since Roethlisberger was drafted. I mean, Big Ben retired. Our offensive line last year got demolished and was one of the worst in the league. Our run defense had a bunch of injuries and was one of the worst in the league, and we are going after things to patch these things up. So let me just talk to you guys real quickly about the moves we've made on the first 3 days of free agency. First things first, I will talk about the cheap re-signings, the guys on the kind of second or third tier that we re-signed to help us out on cheap deals. Arthur Maulet is one of them. I like Maulet. I thought he was an underrated corner for the Jets when they had him. I like that he came here. He's physical. He can tackle on the run. I thought he made some plays last year. He was inconsistent. He wasn't always the best in coverage, but he had decent coverage moments, and he had pretty good running up, blitzing on the quarterback, tackling off the edge, the stuff that Mike Hilton used to do. Obviously not as good as Mike Hilton, but I thought he was a nice slot corner tackler for a while last year. Again, he had some up moments and down moments, but when he was healthy out there, which was 2/3 of the season, I like what I saw from him. So I think bringing him back as a depth piece at the cornerback spot, I think he's young. I think he's fairly physical, and I think he's fairly experienced for his age. So I like bringing Maulet back on a cheap deal. Also, Montravius Adams. He's one of those guys toward the end of the season that was forced to come in. I think he came off the Saints practice squad. We signed him at the end of last year when we had a bunch of injuries to Tuitt and Alualu. He played D-tackle pretty nicely last year. Had a couple of nice tackles on the running back, a couple of batted balls. He got in the backfield a little bit. He's another big physical guy. I like him. I thought he was a great value pickup for us last year. I think he's a great short-term re-signing. I think if we still have questions about Alualu's health or Tuitt's health, I think Montravius Adams is a nice defensive line bench piece. He's a nice guy that can fill in certain spots. He can come in for injuries and play a couple of games. He can make some plays. I like Montravius Adams. Miles Killebrew, another guy that I like. We signed him last year. Special teams is kind of where he makes his most acclaim, should I say. Again, he's a good special teams guy. Again, another guy that's pretty physical. Came off the Lions, didn't really get to showcase himself too much, but he's a veteran, and he's fairly physical, and I like him as a backup safety. I think he serves better as a backup safety than a lot of other guys we used to have there, like Jordan Dangerfield and even Marcus Allen. I think Killebrew is a nice piece back there behind our starters. I don't think he should be a long-term starter, but I think as a dime package, quarter package, sub-package guy who can tackle, who can get around the ball a little bit and tackle on special teams, I like Killebrew. So good re-signing there. The one re-signing I don't like, the one kind of big gaffe, I think, for our offseason has been re-signing Chuks Okorafor. Now, you guys know me, know that I think we should nuke the offensive line and pretty much start over. I mean, I talked about cutting Trey or letting Trey Turner go, which I think they're going to do, cutting Zach Banner, which they did, and cutting cutting BJ Finney, which I think they will just let him go as well. He's a free agent, and cutting Chukwuokorafor. They decided to re-sign Chukwuokorafor, and not only do I not like that re-signing, but the money I don't like as well. It's 3 years for about $29 million, which acutes to about $10 million a year, which I think is way too high for a guy of Chooks' standard, especially when you look at some of these other deals. Most of our other free agents are coming in for less money than that, and they are much more proven, much better, bigger names than Chooks. When you look at the actual breakdown of the contract, it makes a little more sense. Of that $29 million, I think he's only getting $4 million this year, and his second and third year are where the big bumps come at. So basically, it's like you're getting a small contract for this year. If you can stay on the team, then you'll get the big money in the next 2 years. But if you only play this year, you're getting $4 million, and we're going to cut you and try over again. Even though that makes more sense, and I understand he's played for us for a couple of years, and he's a veteran now, I wouldn't have made this deal. This is the one big deal that I'm really scratching my head on as a negative. I think you could have cut him or let him walk in free agency, I should say. And for that $29 million or $10 million a year, you could have signed a really like one of the top 3 offensive tackles in free agency. You really could have gotten a much better guy for maybe even lesser of a price than Chukwuokorafor, starting over and picking up a much better, more proven commodity. So I don't like that re-signing personally, but I understand it's hard to find starting tackles, right tackles now. I just don't think... I know he improved toward the end of the year, and he started to finally show a little bit more than he had previously, but I don't like the re-signing. I'm not a fan of his work, and I don't think that he got better enough to warrant himself another contract on this team, especially 3 years. So I think this is going to be his proven year for the $4 million season. Even still, not a big fan of this one. Let's move on to stuff that I am a huge fan of, because there's a bunch of these. Here's one I'm in the middle about, Mitch Trubisky. We signed a quarterback. 2 years, $14 million, so $7 million a year. Got Mitch on a pretty cheap deal. He was obviously a former very high pick for the Bears, started for them for a while, went to the Bills as a backup. He is now here. There's positives and negatives to this deal. This is a, again, 2-year small money deal for a quarterback. We needed a quarterback. He is an upgrade of what we already have. He's better than Haskins and Mason have shown us so far. He's more proven. He started more games. He is more of a moving quarterback. He can roll out. He can do things on his feet. He's more mobile than the guys we currently have. He can throw on the run decently, and he fits Matt Canada's system a little better than our current guys. So those are positives. I'm not a big fan of his arm strength, and I'm not a big fan of his decision-making. I watched a lot of his highlight tapes and went back and watched a lot of the tape, and I saw that Allen Robinson bailed him out a lot. He was throwing a lot of questionable balls, especially over the middle of the field, and guys like Robinson or Mooney or whoever else, the tight end, were skying up getting the balls. Jimmy Graham were skying up and getting the balls in the middle of the field, either high passes over the middle or passes to the side that Robinson had to come back and turn around for. So he didn't seem terribly accurate to me, and his arm strength seemed hit or miss. He can throw a decent deep ball. He's not a bad deep ball guy, and he can throw more patterns than the guys we have on the roster. So again, this is probably going to be a 1-year bridge. It's a 2-year cheap deal, so it's like if he comes in this year and he plays well, then we got a starting quarterback for really cheap, and we can fix other parts of our team. But if he doesn't play well this year, we just set ourselves up for a good draft pick next year when it's a much better quarterback class than it is this year. So it is a 1-year bridge to a rookie if he doesn't play well, or a possible cheap prove-it deal for him. So it's not a bad deal. It's not a horrible signing. He's not in the top 3 guys that I wanted. I was looking at Jameis, and then if we couldn't have Jameis, which I really wanted, we could get a Mariota or a Ryan Fitzpatrick. Those were the guys that I had targeted. Mitch wasn't on that list, but we'll see. I'm not super against the deal because it is cheap and he does have positives, and he was a winning starter. He's got a winning record in the NFL. So he's got some positives there. Let's see, with a mobile quarterback and a fresh start, with Canada trying to do his best at coordinator now, with no more restraints with Big Ben and non-mobile quarterbacks. We've got a mobile guy now in a new system. Let's see what he can do. Let's see what Canada can do. Let's see what Tomlin can do without Ben. Then we have all the other guys here I'm really, really happy with. Mason Cole, we signed a center/guard from the Minnesota Vikings. 3 years, $15.7 million. So we're looking about $5 million a year. Really good signing for me. Mason Cole, again, mostly a center, also plays some guard. I think he is instantly an improvement over Kendrick Green and J.C. Hassenauer. That obviously, I could see him starting or being a bench piece, but I like him better as a starter. Got him on a good deal. Didn't spend too much money at $5 million a year. He started a bunch of games for the Vikings. Played pretty well, pretty physical. He's young and he's experienced and he's physical. Those things are going to be shown all throughout this video. Young, experienced, and physical. I like Mason Cole. He's an instant starter for me at center on this team. I think he's the best center we have. Can also play guard when there's injuries. So he's got position versatility and flexibility. I like that a lot. James Daniels I like even more. He's a guard/center. So he's played some center, but mostly plays guard. Top 10 interior defensive lineman in the NFL. He was my third best guard available in this draft. Guard's pretty interesting here. I think he was ranked in the top 25 in pass defense for linemen this year. A little lower on the run defense. He was in the 90th percentile in the run defense. So run defense needs some work. Pass defense really good. Or I could be getting that backwards. But one of them he's really solid in. Again, mostly guard, plays some center for the Bears. Bears are real sad to lose him. He's a really solid, again, young, physical, talented. We got him for 3 years, $26.5 million, so a little less than $9 million a year. Again, really solid for a starting guard. He becomes instantly our best of our 5 linemen. He's our number 1 lineman now. Signing a guard instead of a tackle is interesting because, again, you bring back Chooks. I don't know about that. But now at guard is interesting because you have Kevin Dotson, who was our best lineman 2 years ago and was really good last year when he was healthy. But he had some injury issues and he had some behavioral issues. He came into camp out of shape for Tomlin. He didn't seem like he was taking it seriously. Tomlin kind of was talking about benching him and stuff like that. So some behavioral issues. And the other guard would be Kendrick Green. We're going to move Kendrick Green from center unless he's just not going to play at all and be a second-year, third-round bust. I don't know if they want to admit that yet. He is big and physical. When I always said he was a better guard than center, guard's his natural position. So in this situation, now you've got 3 potential starting guards. And moving Kendrick Green plus Dotson and Daniels. Daniels, I think, with this kind of money, does start next year. He's our best lineman now. Dotson's our second best lineman. So do you start those 2 at guard and just keep Kendrick Green on the bench for rotational stuff? Or do you have Dotson and Green kind of fight over that second guard spot? Do you kind of see who comes in more ready and more mature and more improved? What do you do there? Really interesting with those 3 guys. With Dotson's issues starting last year and then Kendrick Green moving over, it's going to be interesting. But Daniels is a impact starting guard. Again, physical, young, experienced. I like it a lot. Levi Wallace, the former Buffalo Bills cornerback, 2 years, $8 million, $4 million a year for a cornerback 2. He is going to be our second cornerback, pure outside guy. We needed him. Again, physical, young, experienced. Came out of Alabama, played really well, underrated for a good Buffalo defense. He's physical on the outside. He can cover one-on-one. He's really good at deep balls. He touches the bodies a lot. He pushes up, touches up, does a lot of trap stuff on the outside of the receivers. Gets his head around for deep balls. I like the way he plays the ball. He also jumps routes successfully a lot. Gets a lot of picks on reading really well. So it shows me he's got fast reaction time. He's got good burst. He's got good head movement. And he's got good general field generalship. He's apparently a really vocal, energetic guy. I like everything I'm hearing about this guy. He fits that Steelers need, and he fits that Steelers kind of culture. So, again, physical, versatile, young, experienced. Wallace really fits us a lot. I hope we can still get Akello Weatherspoon. We're obviously going to let either Hayden or Akello or both go now. Hayden, I think, was already going to go. I would still re-sign Akello. That's important to me because you don't want to be left with just Wallace because then, Cam Sutton needs to go inside. If you can re-sign Akello and you get Akello who played very well last year for us as the number 1 corner and Levi Wallace as your new physical outside number 2, and then you can put Sutton as a number 3 who's natural inside. He can be your slot corner. Now he's back where he belongs. And all of a sudden you got 3 guys you can trust. But if you let Weatherspoon go and you only have Wallace as your number 1, he's going a little higher than he's supposed to. He's usually a CB2. If he's going to be your number 1, he's a little out of sorts. And then Sutton is on the outside again as number 2. You don't want that. Our secondary will be just as bad as it was last year. Re-sign Akello and keep those 2 on the outside and put Sutton back on the inside. Then I will feel very confident in this secondary. Then you've got Miles Jack, inside linebacker from the Jacksonville Jaguars, had over 100 tackles last year. He's been a tackling machine. 2 years, $16 million, just $8 million a year. A bargain guy, young, physical. I like Miles Jack a lot. Some of the issues we had last year were sideline to sideline speed once Bush went down. We had issues covering over the middle, and we had issues tackling. And Miles Jack fixes a lot of that. He seems like he's very good at reading gaps. Again, mentally, he's very strong. He picks the right assignments. That's a problem we've had a lot with our safeties, Terrell Edmonds especially, and with our linebackers. Devin Bush's biggest weakness was choosing the wrong gaps. Miles Jack is good at that. Finishing tackles is a big weakness on this defense. Miles Jack is great at that. He's one of the best in the league at that. He's very fast. Now with Bush and Jack together, we've got one of the fastest sideline-to-sideline combos at linebacker in the NFL. Now all of a sudden you got Highsmith and Watt as freakish athletes on the outside. Jack and Bush is two of the fastest in the league on the inside. You've got a really good linebacker combination, and I think adding Miles Jack here, along with the new coaching and stuff we got in the offseason, I think that Devin Bush improves a lot now. We got new defensive coaching. We got a better linebacker next to him. That is really solid. So I think Miles Jack is probably our best signing so far. So you see, again, we're getting experienced young veterans who are physical, who have good mental abilities too, for good, cheap deals. So Pittsburgh is spending a lot of money on good guys and not wasting money. We're getting good deals on good talent. And we also cut Zach Banner, saving $5 million, and cut Joe Schobert, saving $8 or $9 million. So we essentially got Levi Wallace and Miles Jack for free. We cut two guys we knew we were going to cut. We saved $13 million. We turn around and spend that on two young starting veterans. So all of a sudden now we have a better offensive line. Our linebacking core has improved. Our cornerbacks have improved. It's very, very interesting to see what Pittsburgh is doing. People still want to see us go after Honey Badger. There's still a lot of questions. Are we going to re-sign Terrell Edmonds? Are we going to go after Honey Badger at safety? What are we going to do as far as corner? Are we going to re-sign Akello or not? Wide receiver Juju Smith-Schuster is still out there, and his market seems like it's low, so we're going to get him for a good price as another big target for Mitch Trubisky. I threw out there Allen Robinson. He's out there right now, and his market seems a little lower than he expected. He's a Trubisky guy. He played in Chicago with him. He's similar to Juju in his catch radius and his physicality. What can he do? So there's a couple guys to look at out there right now, but Pittsburgh is looking much improved in their signings. They are spending money smart on similar style, good cultured players. So what are your thoughts? Who do you think was our best signing so far? Who should we sign that's still out there? And who should we re-sign that has not been signed by our team yet? Tell me in the comments below. Please like, share, and subscribe this video. And again, if you want to see my other Steeler videos, I got 4 other ones in the offseason posted in the last couple of weeks. So please check those out. And I will come back again if Pittsburgh makes any more signings and discuss those as well. But we're off to a really good start in free agency, the best since I've been a fan. And tell me in the comments below what you guys think. I will see you soon. Take care.